PCI DSS, Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard Framework. It is one of the framework which is not a regulatory framework. It is an industry framework. And why we call it as industry framework? Because there was 5 major payment card industry players. That is MasterCard, Visa, as you can see here, MasterCard, Visa, American Express, JCB, Discover. These 5 major players, they came together to set a particular standard. They made PCI Council, and based on that, they defined what are the kind of different controls you need to get compliant with, right? That is where. So, to whom this PCI DSS actually applies? Who need to get compliant with PCI DSS? So, if your company is processing cardholder data, then you must get compliant with PCI DSS. Simple. When it comes to processing, what is process? If you have access, if you are storing, if you are creating, right? You are sharing, you are retaining, all these things. If you are doing, right, then you need to get compliant with PCI DSS. Okay, that's one thing. But why at all? Again, my question is what? You told what it is. I answered this what, right? But why? Why? Because when people, they do some transaction through credit card, okay, there is some information in credit card. What all information is there? Okay, primary account number, that means your card number, cardholder name, service code. There is always a service code, which you may not realize, but there is a service code, expiry date, right? All this data is getting processed. And then there is a black strip. Nowadays, we are replacing this with chip, right? This has your track data. That is when you put it into ATM machine and it reads something, right? So there is full track data. Then there is something called as CVV, maybe a 3-digit to 5-digit number here, right? CVV. And again, there is a PIN. PIN means password. It may be a 4-character, it may be a 6-character or 8-character, whatever, card to card. So you are processing some data which is related to your finance. What if somebody is able to get these names, you stretch your card somewhere and somebody is able to read this entire credit card number, cardholder data, this CVV number. He can do the transaction in behalf of you, right? And enjoy his life on your hard-earned money. So idea here is to safeguard this cardholder data. Okay. So in cardholder data also, because you are doing some processing on the cardholder data, so there is something called as cardholder data and there is something called as sensitive authentication information. So all your full track information, CVV and your PIN is sensitive authentication information, right? In no case, company should be storing it. Even if you are going to an ATM machine, you are doing a transaction with the bank, the moment your transaction is over, that particular system is supposed to destroy your keys, whatever you used for processing. And those keys are retained, destroyed, everything is managed through SSM and all those kind of things. All right? Is that clear to you guys?
Sir, what is full track data? Sorry, I just missed that.
Sir, full track data, you can see this black strip, magnetic strip, right? So there is some data which is here. That is called as your track data. So this also tells you like where location you are, like some additional information about the card and cardholder. So it retains your sensitive information So you should not be like, nobody should be able to store it. Simple. But then, for example, you did a transaction with me, right? And tomorrow you are coming, no, I want a refund. Then you will ask him, what is your name? Don't you will ask for the name? Because without name, how you understand which transaction this guy is asking for refund? So you would be needing that name. That is why you can store that name. Sorry, name. And you may also ask credit card number. That also you can store. Then service code number. That also you can store. And expiry date also you can store. Right? But you can store. But while you are storing, apart from the card number, right, all other data need to be rendered unreadable. Nobody else should be able to read it. That is your obligation. So all this is defined in 3.2. You cannot go and store any sensitive authentication information related to the card. That is why you see, right, first 6 and last 6 digits or 4 digits, total 10 digits, they are masked, as in when somebody is showing a credit card to you, right? You should not be able to read it. It will be just like this. That is called as masking. Is that clear, guys? Okay. Now, in PCI DSS, there are total how many security requirement? There are a lot of security requirement, total 12, and they are put under some categories. You can see build and maintain a secure network and system. This is where they're talking about the security of network and systems. They are talking about cardholder data, protect the cardholder data. How do you protect it and all that, encrypt and all. Then maintain a vulnerability management program. You need to have assessed by a qualified. It's not that you get an audit done or vulnerability assessment done by anybody. No, not going to work. You need to get vulnerability assessed for any qualified vulnerability assessor. Then implement strong access control measures. That means restrict access to cardholder data by business on a need-to-know basis. Identify and authenticate access to system components. Restrict physical access to cardholder data, right? Physical access. This is all logical access. Then regular monitoring. This is continuous monitoring they are talking about. This is they are asking about pen testing. Maintain an information security policy. That means governance. Right? So they have total 12 requirements as part of the framework. And then under these requirements, there are fine-grained controls defined. Right? That is how PCI DSS actually works. Now, in PCI DSS, one very important thing is called a scope. For example, there is one server which is actually maintaining and storing all cardholder data. This is a server. And then this server is connected with the DNS server. It is also connected with a, let's say, internet time protocol server, right? And it is also connected with the storage, right? It is also connected with the database. What do you think is going to be the scope of this? Like, what is in the scope of audit in this case? Is it this much? Or is it this much? Or this is this much?
It will be the bigger umbrella. All
Complete,
the things
sir.
will be complete. should be
Right.
under audit.
Anything which is touching this particular server, which is maintaining your cardholder data, will be in scope of PCI DSS. Always remember. Let it be time protocol server, like maybe this particular server within your organization, maybe. Then this also will become in scope. So it is always very, very important to understand, if you want to maintain a good sanity and good posture for PCI DSS, always isolate. Isolate as much as possible. Keep it limited. Keep all these system limited, and then other production system separate from this. This will remove a lot of burden from you. Otherwise, anywhere touching the production system, other systems, every system will come into picture, and you will get a lot of findings there. Right? So always remember when it comes to PCI DSS. Now, one very important characteristic. This PCI DSS, I think there are over 200 controls, 240 or whatever controls. They are mandatory, man. They are not something as an optional, just like in the case of ISO 27001. No. You need and must have all the controls. If you don't have a control, then what? What you can do then, guys? They said you need to follow all these controls to get compliant with PCI DSS, but I don't have a control by itself. I don't have money to invest on this. What to do then? Then you need to bring in compensatory controls. But you cannot miss out and say, I don't have fund, I can't be compliant with this. That statement will not work. Make sense? You have to do a formal annual risk assessment. Risk assessment is mandatory. Right? Risk assessment, you can't escape from this on an annual basis. And mandatory vulnerability assessment by a qualified assessor. So these are few things. I would say the controls which are defined in PCI DSS are much more tighter and much more serious, because people financial records is what we are talking about here, right? So that is what is PCI DSS. But is PCI DSS a regulatory framework?
No.